Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Beside him, there were three figures standing. There is a tall young woman wearing a fiery red dress with skin as fair as jade. She has her arms folded, her breasts are quite spectacular, and her posture is high. There was a burly man with a tall head and a bamboo hat on his head. He held the hilt of the knife at his waist with his right hand. His eyes were fierce and his face was full of flesh. He looked like he was going to draw his knife and chop people if he disagreed with someone. There was also a short figure like a dwarf. Although he was a man, he was wearing a pink skirt, which made him look out of place. He wore a white veil and looked down on his face. These figures were very similar to the four-man group in the rumors. Especially the white-haired old man. When he opened his mouth to reveal his identity, he frightened the host and confirmed his guess in his mind. It's really him. White-haired killer god Yi Junlin. As soon as these words came out, the originally angry guests shuddered as if they were drenched in ice water. They were shaking all over and looking forward with fear in their eyes. As for the so-called heaven-shaped and Tao-shaped boxes on the treasure ship, the murderous intent released was instantly restrained and dissipated, as if nothing had happened. Everyone trembled and regretted what they had just said. That was the white-haired killer whose reputation resounded throughout the eastern region. The big boss who had the blood of millions of cultivators on his hands and trampled on the face of Yuhua's sect. Even at the Shui family banquet a while ago, the Juyang immortal who had broken through the tribulation went to cause trouble, but was killed on the spot by the other party. It was at that time that many people knew that Yi Junlin of Shantian sect was not a venerable, but a genuine immortal. Now, this guy actually robbed people in broad daylight? By the way, is it really him? I always feel that he wouldn't do such a thing, he must be a fake, right? Are you blind? Didn't you see the people standing next to him? It's exactly the same as the rumors. That's right, the woman is the red fairy, the man is the blade demon Li Wujia, and the shortest one is the personal boy of the white-haired god of death. With this lineup, you still think it's fake? I'm really impressed by your IQ. If you want to die, don't drag us with you. Suddenly, a middle-aged man in the crowd hesitated for a while and said, but there are also rumors that that person's mount is the ancient mythical beast Kunpeng. Damn, do you believe this? Another young man sneered, that kind of mythical beast disappeared from the Kunlun world a long time ago, how could it appear to serve as a mount for him? Yes, it must have been blown up by someone who has done something bad. No matter how powerful Yi Junlin is, there is no way he can use Kunpeng as a mount. I advise those who think it is a fake to not implicate everyone before they die. The old white-haired devil is very cruel. Hey, if I had known I would have done my fortune-telling before I left. Everyone was dejected, as if the eggplant had been beaten by frost. Yi Junlin has a reputation for being evil, and because he often spreads rumors, his image has been demonized in various ways. So when encountering this kind of thing, even if the monks on the ship had doubts, due to the intimidation and the influence of their companions, they had no choice but to swallow their anger and give up resistance. After all, if you make a mistake, wouldn't your life be lost here? Don't be afraid of 10,000, just be afraid of what happens. It's better to spend money to eliminate disaster. Saw this scene. The white-haired old man showed a meaningful smile on his lips, coughed a few times and pretended to be serious, Li Wujia. Master, my disciple is here. The man in the hat said respectfully. Why don't you quickly accept the kindness of fellow Taoists? Yes. The man in the hat turned around with a ferocious smile on his face, pulled out his long knife and rushed to the treasure ship. Like a vicious bandit, he yelled, if you are wise, hand over all your valuables. Don't force you, Mr. Li, to kill people. The monks on the deck dared not speak out in anger, so they all had to take out their storage rings. The man in the hat was holding a knife, walking with a swagger, and his eyes were so fierce that no one along the way dared to look at him. It was rumored that the sword demon Li Wujia chased and slashed the young master of the Shui family at the Shui family banquet. It was said that he was extremely bold and had no rules. Now that they saw the arrogant man in a hat, everyone was even more convinced that this was true, and they were deeply afraid of offending him and being hacked to death. Li Wujie collected their storage rings, then went to each box and kicked the doors one by one, cursing and saying, "You guys are riding horses? Are all the people dead inside? Get them all out, Master Li." Soon, a bunch of transformed gods walked out of the sky-shaped box, and more than a dozen of them came out of the Dao-shaped box. They looked ugly and obediently took out their valuable belongings. The man in the bamboo hat accepted it with ease, and then came to the most luxurious cabin of the treasure ship. He raised his foot and was about to kick it. When the captain saw this, he rushed over and said with an apologetic smile, "Master Li, you must not do it. There are 2 servants inside. The guests from Guangzhou have a lot of background, you see." The man in the bamboo hat said with a fierce expression, "No matter how good you are, you have to sell my master's face. If you are sensible, just get out of here, otherwise, you will all die when my master takes action." Hearing this, the captain turned pale with fright. At this time, the door suddenly opened. Inside, there was a middle-aged man wearing black and white clothing, with a bun and a goatee. He stood with his hands behind his back with a gloomy expression. He exuded the aura of cultivation in the Mahayana realm. Sitting next to her was a woman in yellow with creamy skin and a graceful figure. At this time, her almond-shaped eyes were wide and her pretty face was full of anger. The man in the hat froze on the spot. There is actually a genuine venerable person here. After his brain went blank for a short time, the man in the hat quickly returned to his original state, raised the long knife in his hand and pointed it at the middle-aged man, and said arrogantly, "You really want to do something, don't you? Believe it or not, my master will kill you." Bang! The woman in yellow had the temper of a young lady. She stood up and smashed the table made of 1,000-year-old immortal wood into pieces, glaring angrily, with the intention of taking action. Behind her, there were faint shadows of stars, trying to illuminate the world, and a terrifying pressure swept through the entire room. At a young age, he has already cultivated to the state of integration, and he seems to have a special physique, with a bright future. The man in the hat shuddered and almost ran away, but thanks to his skillful acting skills, he stabilized his mind and pretended to be calm and sneered, "Damn girl, are you trying to play tricks on your master Li? Who do you think is going to kill this girl?" The woman in yellow was angry, her fist filled with bright stars, and she was about to explode towards the man in the hat. The man in the bamboo hat felt a chill on his back, secretly thinking that he was really going to fall into trouble this time. At the critical moment, a big hand grabbed the wrist of the woman in yellow. The middle-aged man in black and white clothes said in a deep voice, "Miss, don't be impulsive. Leave this matter to me, Uncle Fan." And Miaoui was very reluctant. Fan Disheng shook his head, raised his hands to the man in the bamboo hat and said, "Fellow Taoist, we are the Taoist sect from Guangzhou. Could you please make it easier this time? We will definitely visit your Shintian sect someday." Taoism. The eyelids of the man in the bamboo hat trembled. This was an existence that could be ranked among the top 10 immortal sects in the eastern region. It is said that there were several immortals in ancient times. Oh my god, I really hit the wall now. Wait, what am I afraid of? I am now the apprentice of the sword demon Li Wujie and the white-haired murderer Yi Junlin. When it comes to Taoism, is it awesome? Suppressing the shock in his heart, the man in the hat sneered, "We'll talk about the future later. Now hand over all the valuables." Fan Disheng narrowed his eyes and stared at the man in the hat. He didn't expect that he could not stop the guy in front of him even if he mentioned the Taoist sect's name. As expected, the sword demon Li Wujie acted without any scruples. Perhaps his master Yi Junlin is behind this? As soon as his thoughts changed, Fan Jingde suddenly understood again. After all, he dared to offend the Yuhua sect, let alone a Taoist sect? The man in the hat was stared at so much that his back felt cold and his hair stood on end, but out of professionalism, he still had a sinister smile on his face and fierce eyes. In fact, he regretted in his heart why he didn't finish the order just now. If the other party breaks the jar, his life will be decided here. Damn it, I should have known it would have been too deep to get into the drama. At this moment, Fander seemed to have made up his mind, and took out the storage ring with some pain, and said with a smile, "This is the storage ring that I carry with you. There are 5 million top-grade spiritual crystals in it, and I asked my Taoist friends to accept a few spiritual weapons that are barely useful and tell Yi Xuxian that they are my Taoist sect's thoughts." A gleaming storage ring floated away and fell into the hands of the man in the hat. The man in the hat was breathing a little quickly and was extremely ecstatic. "Get rich. Make a fortune now. Uncle Fan. What are you?" And Miaoi stomped her feet angrily, feeling that this behavior was very embarrassing. Fan Dishing took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "Fellow Taoist, are you still satisfied?" The man in the hat pretended to be calm and accepted the storage ring, and coldly snorted, "You know what's going on, I will report the truth to Master when I get back." After saying that, he held the knife on his shoulder and walked out of the door swaggeringly. When going down the stairs, the man in the hat's legs were shaking a little, his face was red with excitement, and he said to himself, Hey, just run away after showing off, how exciting. Did you see that? Even the Taoist sect's venerable people paid the money obediently. Hey, let me just say it's true. I was still a little bit in disbelief just now. Fortunately, it didn't lead to a big disaster. I can't help it. If you do something like this, consider yourself unlucky. Everyone whispered and felt very happy. With joy in his heart, the man in the bamboo hat flew out of the treasure ship and came to the white-haired old man. He pretended to hold up his hands and said, "Master, my disciple has accepted all the good intentions of fellow Taoists." The white-haired old man looked calm and confident. He wore a solemn black robe with a hunting sound. His eyes opened and closed with a cold light, and he slowly said, "Well, very good, it seems that someone is still willing to sell me Yi Junlin. Face. Let's go." Yes. Swish swish swish. The group of people rode the crane away and disappeared into the billowing clouds. On the treasure ship, everyone breathed a sigh of relief, but still had lingering fears about what had just happened. The captain even cried with joy, feeling that he would survive the disaster. In the private room on the top floor, and Miaoi put her hands on her hips, her pretty face was very dissatisfied, and asked, "Uncle Fan, you let me down so much." Fan Disheng twitched the corner of his mouth and said depressedly, "Miss, I am also trying to protect your safety. If I don't give you face, Yi Junlin will definitely kill us all with his cruel and murderous temperament. And you have also seen that his apprentice does not take our Taoist sect seriously at all. If anything happens to you, I will be the sinner of the Taoist sect." And Miaoi was still angry and said angrily, "It's true that the upper beam is not straight and the lower beam is crooked. This Yi Junlin has gone too far. Why can he be lawless? Do whatever he wants in the eastern region?" Fan Disheng shook his head and said helplessly, "Who made his cultivation unfathomable? Not long ago, he killed a virtual immortal from the Yuhua sect. You know, that person's Taoist name was Zhu Yang, and he was the master of the holy son of the Yuhua sect. My dear. Oh, pity that he came all the way, thinking that he could kill Yi Junlin alone, but who thought that guy deliberately concealed his cultivation, and Zhu Yang was killed in the end. Furthermore, it is said that Yi Junlin was very protective of his shortcomings. After accepting the sword demon Li Wujia as his disciple, he forced the ancestor of the Shui family to personally kill the Shui family father and son. Do you think I cannot be afraid of such a ruthless person? Like him. I think it's normal for a moody lunatic to commit robbery on a whim. This great elder from the Taoist sect was usually highly respected in the sect and had a very high status, but when he mentioned Yi Junlin's deeds, his words were filled with deep fear. And Miaoi was so angry that her chest kept rising and falling, pacing back and forth in the room, gritting her teeth and saying, "Damn it, how can there be such a wicked person in the world?" Fan Disheng looked at the angry woman in yellow and seemed to have thought of something. He said earnestly, "Miss, practice hard. With your talent, you will be able to break through the tribulation sooner or later, and even become an immortal. Don't forget, you are a star immortal. A person with a human body, this physique is not much worse than the sun immortal body of the saint son of the Yuhua sect. Hearing this, and Meowie's eyes were full of determination. Don't worry, Uncle Fan, I will work hard to practice. When I am strong enough, I will definitely eliminate demons and defend the Tao. Get rid of this scum with my own hands. Fan Dizhang smiled bitterly. Although the sect master's daughter was very motivated, her ideas were a little childish, she was too impulsive in her actions, and she was easily emotional. Hey, there is no other way, just take your time. I hope you can make some progress during this trip to Yaowang Valley. On a mountaintop in the distance, several figures were sitting on the ground, dividing up the spoils. Hey, Yi Junlin's name is really useful. These days, whenever we rob, we all succeed without exception. The dwarf-like short figure took off the curtain on the top of his head, revealing a sinister face. He smiled obscenely. Damn, I scared the labor and management half to death just now, and almost exposed the secret. Fortunately, the Taoist sect leader was forced to give in because of Yi Junlin's reputation. The man in the hat said excitedly, "That's your venerable man. A boss who is usually aloof, but I didn't expect that he has to be respectful to me. This feeling is so good. Why don't you take a pee and take a look at yourself? Are they being respectful to you? They are showing off to the sword demon Li Wujie. And who are you? Just a small character." The person who spoke was a man with a hot figure. The spicy woman in red rolled her beautiful eyes and scoffed. The man in the hat glared angrily, "Who are you talking about when you ride on a horse? Aren't you also a bitch that is ridden by thousands of people? Have you forgotten how long you have been working in Fengchun Tower? Do you really think you are a red fairy? Bah. I'm going to tear your mouth apart." The woman in red stood up angrily, her chest trembling wildly. "Come on, let me chop you to death, you pheasant." The man in the hat said angrily, holding a long knife. "Quiet." At this moment, the white-haired old man shouted with a cold look in his eyes. His body exuded a powerful aura of divine transformation, which directly suppressed several people present. Compared with these parallel imports, there is no doubt about the strength of the white-haired old man. Moreover, he also formed the team by himself. The most important thing is that the white-haired old man has mastered the method of hiding his cultivation level, which makes every time he takes action, he can give the target the illusion that his cultivation level is unfathomable. The white-haired old man sneered. "You all think you have become more capable? You don't even know how much you weigh? Let me tell you, you are not irreplaceable. At worst, I will kill you too and find a suitable person to replace you. If you are wise, please be smart." For this audacious planner, the man in the hat and the others were all in awe and kept silent. The white-haired old man restrained his aura and raised the corners of his mouth. As the saying goes, the brave will be starved to death and the timid will be starved to death. Cultivation not only relies on talent and hard work, but also requires the support of massive cultivation resources. As a casual cultivator, he has struggled all the way, but he is still stuck in the perfection of divine transformation for many years. If he wants to make a breakthrough, he must do something. And this time Yaowang Valley is a good opportunity. While Yaowang Valley is open, pretending to be Yi Junlin is the best time to cut leaks. Because during this period, the flow of people coming and going is the largest, and it is also the time when the benefits are highest. You just need to sit back and enjoy it. Fortunately, Yi Junlin has a strong reputation and a complete team, so the target audience simply gave up resistance and obediently paid for peace. Now that he has made a lot of money, the white-haired old man sighed inwardly, how clever his strategy is. As for doing this, it would have a negative impact on Yi Junlin's disciples, and the white-haired old man didn't feel the slightest bit guilty about this. After all, this kind of roadblocking and robbery is just a drop in the bucket compared to the killing of an army of millions of monks, right? After the last vote, everyone will disband. The white-haired old man's eyes flashed and he sneered, but before that, we have to play something bigger. Rumble. Suddenly, the clouds on the horizon in the distance were rolling wildly, and a huge body of tens of thousands of meters passed by, blowing up a mighty air current. That terrifying coercion can cause heart palpitations even from a distance. Then, what is that? The white-haired old man's scalp was numb, his whole body felt like falling into an ice cellar, and his eyes showed the ultimate shock. It's so scary, what kind of monster is that? The man in the bamboo hat swallowed his saliva and his face turned pale.
Ah.
The woman in red trembled and was almost incontinent. When the huge figure disappeared, these people breathed a sigh of relief, and their backs were already wet with cold sweat. At the same time, on Kuanpeng, there is a huge magic shield, with rockery and flowing water, pavilions and towers, and the scenery is beautiful and spectacular, just like a holiday island. Junlin sat on the Taisher chair, reached out and picked up the chess piece, looking thoughtful, and then put it on the chessboard. Master, this is the tornado ice cream you want. Chocolate flavor. Bai Xiaoxi ran over excitedly with the freshly made product in her hand. Well, put it there. Okay. At this time, Hong Qianya picked up the chess piece and put it down calmly, with a faint arc at the corner of his mouth, feeling that he was sure to win. For some reason, seeing the opponent being defeated step by step, his desire to win reached its peak at this moment. Junlin did not react, but picked up the military chess, and naturally crossed the boundary river and the obstacles of multiple targets, and landed on the opponent's chess. Eat you. You lose this game again. Hong Qianya was stunned, clenched his fists tightly, and gritted his teeth and said, Master, military chess can't do this. I'm sorry, I'm a special forces soldier. Junlin said with a serious face. God, special forces soldier. Another new word you created? Hong Qianya was so angry that his heart was twitching. He shouldn't have such unrealistic expectations, and actually fantasized about defeating the opponent openly. Even the rules of the game were changed arbitrarily by this guy, and his superb chess skills were not useful at all. Hey, Yimao only wants to lose. Junlin threw away the chess piece, sighed to the sky, and his tone was lonely and unmatched. Hong Qianya's contempt was even worse, and he secretly said in his heart, Bah. Shameless guy. Junlin shrugged, picked up the finished ice cream made by Bai Xiaoxi, lowered his head and looked at it. His expression was like the old man in the subway in his previous life looking at his phone. Hiss, this shape is like a pile of feces. It's black. My good disciple, you have worked hard, and this is for you as a reward. Xiaoxi, make me a cup of vanilla flavor, and use a ball instead of the shape. Okay. Hong Qianya looked at this thing that looked like a defense, and his expression was like constipation. Is this for people to eat? In the end, Hong Qianya suppressed his discomfort, scooped a spoonful with a spoon, and slowly put it into his mouth. In an instant, Hong Qianya's eyes lit up, and he was not so resistant. Ice cold, melt in the mouth, is this ice cream? It's delicious. Master, we have arrived in Wuzhou. It is said that Medicine King Valley will be opened in a few days. Li Wujia ran over excitedly, and then his eyes shifted to Hong Qianya, who was eating black ice cream on the side, with a strange look on his face. Senior brother Hong looks like he is eating. At this time, Junlin raised his eyebrows. What is Medicine King Valley? Ding, the host has been detected to have entered Wuzhou, and the sign-in location is refreshed. Please complete the sign-in in Medicine King Valley, and you will get great benefits. In my mind, the system prompt sounded. Oh. Junlin rubbed his chin. Since he's already here, he might as well go to Yawang Valley. Anyway, there are benefits. Master, your vanilla ice cream. Bai Xiaoxi ran over with short legs. Junlin took it, took a bite with a spoon, and praised with satisfaction, well, you did a good job, there is progress. Hey. Bai Xiaoxi scratched his head, feeling very accomplished. By the way, Master has to give you a task. Junlin took out a thick book with a pastry-making encyclopedia written on it. This is a bonus obtained by signing in every day, covering various pastry recipes. This book is definitely a trade secret, and it could create a pastry empire in the past life. Master hopes that you can learn more useful things, not only for me, but also for yourself.